Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Victoria, where obviously we cannot continue to construct at this speed, at least not long term. For the time being, we're going to pause our construction here and work on paying down some of these debts. I'm a little bit concerned, actually, about the fact that where is this money going? That's actually a good question here. We're paying 200k for government wages. Okay, fair enough. 6.18k right now for bureaucracy, so we've got a lot of good bureaucracy. No problems there. So government wages are a big chunk of it. Goods for government buildings are a fairly big chunk as well. That's mostly paper, but there's some telephones in there as well. But mostly it's government wages. Military wages are kind of low. I'm not too concerned about that. And of course we've got some interest here. Okay. So we need to work on that. There's no doubt about it. The reason I'm a bit concerned is because we're on maximum taxes here, and we're only making 70k right now. A secession in Congo. Oh, against an uprising that Britain is dealing with. Okay, sure. That's fine. The electric telegraph has been unlocked. Cool. And what are we working on right now? Electrical capacitors. Okay. Now, I want to reiterate that we're probably going to go slightly beyond the end of the game here, just because I don't want to start a new series while traveling. So that's going to be a thing. Our current GDP is kind of chilling at the moment, and I'm definitely concerned right now about our current economic situation. So what is with our lower strata? Clothing costs are a bit up there. But ultimately, I think it's probably more to do with the taxes. Or just unemployment. Actually, we do have 4 million unemployment right now. So it's probably unemployment. Okay. We're a decent amount in debt. I think I'm going to continue our constructions here. We're going to let these continue. It won't be all that long before we have all of these naval bases done, and then we'll be working on the steel mills. Like, we're only 39 weeks away from getting this all finished, right? And our costs will start to drop as we get that done. I wouldn't mind necessarily perhaps building some textile mills. That's not a terrible idea. We're going to build 51 in Amhara, but that's at the end of the queue. Cool. So that's going. And we do have a lot of unemployment right now. So this is going to run us a big deficit for the time being. That is fully understood. But we're nearly done with our naval bases now. This next week we'll finish up our naval bases, except this one, which has that weird toggling back and forth each week bug going on. I assume that's a bug anyway. But it's now done, so that's looking good. So we're working on our steel mills at this moment, and we're working on all of the steel mills. That's good. Getting these steel mills built will reduce the price of our construction. The Radical Party is expanding. That's very rude. How are they doing in here, anyway? They have a lot of momentum. Okay, we'll reduce our momentum a little bit here. That's looking good. But the Social Democratic Party still has by far the most votes. So that's looking absolutely great. Now, we knew that we were going to have financial issues when we went to arc welding. That was obviously going to be the case. Did we change our steel mills over to being electric arc process? Yes, we did. Okay, I just wanted to double check that. That does look good. We don't want to be on arc-welded steamships at this time. Power plants, we don't want to be on oil-fired. Allegedly going down to personal transportation only would be substantially good. As would unlit streets. And I mean, technically market stalls. We'll see what it feels like with our urban center like that. We may switch it back. But that is going to get us, I think, additional employment in our urban centers, which would be good, broadly. Keeping an eye on the situation here, 3.87 million. We're holding fairly firm on our deficit right now. Okay, that seems fine for the moment. Of course, we're not further expanding our militaries at this time. Our deficit is declining a little bit. Our oil rigs are going to be done in 5 weeks. Steel mills are going to be done overall in, well, this is saying 14 weeks. Actually, we're not working on this steel mill anymore, which surprises me mildly. It must be going into a private construction then. Okay. Well, we're going to finish up our oil rigs in 3 weeks here, and then we can evaluate on our debt situation. Debt is going to be a problem. There's no doubt about that. But I think for the time being, it's fine. We did just have an election, so let's see about our reformation here. Okay, we can toss in the armed forces here, and the intelligentsia. So the Social Democratic Party and the Radical Party. Cool. So what do we want to change here? We're on laissez-faire at this moment. There's not a lot that we can change, but we can go to elected bureaucrats. We'll start to work our way into that. So that'll be fine. An international telephone exchange with an uprising? No thanks. Cool. So I think our biggest problem with our lower strata right now is our number of unemployment. Although that has dropped by almost a quarter, which is good. We're definitely making progress there. We're going to get these steel mills done relatively shortly here. 16 weeks on the outside. Cool. And then we're going to be working on textile mills for a bit. But broadly, this looks good. Yes, we're entering into an unhealthy economy setup here. This market access is continuing to be a problem. Ethiopian Gabon, huh? What do we have going on here? Oh, well, there's the problem. We'll subsidize this. It's going to be fairly cheap. So that's not going to have a big effect on our finances. However, we could put in a consumption tax here, and we'll put one in on glass. So that will offset some of this. We're going to get steel mills done. I want to check in on our construction costs. 150K on steel right now. So the current price of steel is, if we look at our balance here, iron is plus 5%. Where is steel at? -4? Okay. So it's not going to be all that expensive. Noted. Would we be okay moving over to automobile production? At least partially. Arguably, yes. So that seems reasonably fine. We'll get that going. Cool. And we'll get these steel mills done. These are going to start finishing up here shortly. Yeah, our standard of living has definitely come up somewhat. And that's, I'm pretty sure, just due to our unemployment dropping. So that looks wonderful. We do need to get unemployment dealt with. No doubt about that. We'll take a setback here, but that's not great. So assembly lines are now done, and that is actually probably a pretty big deal for us. So we want to go to assembly lines anywhere we can. This might cause us some electricity shortages, but I think broadly the production will be good. So we'll keep an eye on that. 24K for our motor industries. I like it. Negative for our arms industries and for our munitions plants. That's probably just going to be due to the price of primarily electricity. There's going to be some oil issues as well. We can look into doing something about the oil situation. None of these are going to need assembly lines, right? So that's reasonably fine there. Let's get these steel mills online, and we'll get these textile mills underway. So that'll be good. Our market access is definitely not great. Our admirals have very few flotillas at this moment. I think we should consider moving our military wages to here. Yes, it'll be expensive, but I want to get people employed in some way, right? So we should get people employed into our military areas. We need to increase our training speed. Our barracks are fine, broadly. It's the naval bases that need work. So we're going to work on that and get some people to work there. That all looks good. Our growth rate is 0.9%. Okay. Not as high as we've seen in the past, for sure. But we're kind of struggling economically here, and our finances are not amazing at this moment. I want to let our steel mills finish up. I think we're just going to continue to build through everything that's here and let this naturally fall off on the construction. I think that'll be the idea here. Now, I'm wondering what the price of electricity is right now. Plus 22%? That's not too bad. Radios are a thing that we wouldn't mind being able to produce. Of course, oil, aeroplanes, a lot of these things we simply don't have tech for. We don't have the tech for radio. We don't have the tech for... It's under military. We don't have the tech for a lot of military stuff. Like, we've not focused on military because we've been having Britain fight our battles, right? Which has worked out very well for us, all things considered. So that's all looking good. Red tape, huh? Man, another setback here is painful. But okay. So there's our second setback there. Now, we're still working on textile mills here. The question is, are we going to run out of our debt cap before we get this done? And the unfortunate answer to that is, I simply don't know. We'll see. We shouldn't be in any situation where we need taxation capacity anywhere. No, that's absolutely fine. So we don't need to expand that for sure. Railways, we do have some issues here. And it's mostly just the price of transportation, right? So we would like to drive up the price of transportation, which does involve doing things like at least going up to public trams. But I think public motor carriages does make sense. And this would employ more people here. Indeed it would. This switches us from clerks to laborers, so we'll not go down off of market stalls for right now. We'll do something like that, and I don't think we drop off of telephone switchboards if we can at all help it. But I want to drive up the price of transportation. That is relatively important here. And textile mills are beginning to finish up. It's going to be about 8 weeks until the bulk of them are done. So we're looking at about another 3 million debt here. That seems acceptable-ish. Our interest is definitely going up. There's no doubt about that. We're going to have to pay down this debt for a while here. Our main problem, I think, comes down to this market access, though. That's the main problem. So, the market capital is, of course, London, right? That's the thing. That's the trade routes there. So the market capital is Midlands. That's not what I was looking for. I want to go to the actual state. Okay, yeah. So it's not actually East Anglia. It is up in Midlands, but that's acceptable. So we want to head up over towards this strategic region and patrol that, right? So we have shipping lane effectiveness issues. So supply network strength here is 100%. Is that what we're looking for? I'm not sure. How many convoys are available versus required? Okay. So what if we were to try to break free from Britain? I mean, our finances are going to be a problem. We'd have to turn up our army, for sure. I think we get some of these textile mills done. But we're probably going to need fairly soon to pause our construction. Probably. A public address has gone awry. This is not going well at all. This is really not going well. We're probably going to need to stop this, in fact. That law went very poorly indeed. So is there anything else that we want to change? We're on laissez-faire right now, which for the moment is reasonably fine. We could go down to protected speech for the technology spread. We will lose some authority for it, but we can work on that. That's a pretty guaranteed one. So that seems okay. We're going to finish these textile mills. There we go. We're going to get another bunch of them done this next week. Are we constructing all of these now? We are. So we're seeing our construction dropping from here on out. Electrical capacitors has now been unlocked. So that gives us some additional production methods. Production methods are very important right now. So we're definitely going to do that. 87.5K there. Nice. 13.3K. Looks solid. So that was all of the production methods that we get out of that. Cool. We're going to swap on over. And is that going to drive up the price of our electricity? Probably is the answer. So I want to check in on the market price. This is in the British market. What is the actual price within, like, Aromia? Probably extraordinarily high. Our production is lower than our consumption across the board. So I believe that to be a big problem. Let's let these textile mills finish. And that will take some time. We're currently using 458 of our construction here. And, of course, we're still building up debt here. I'm not happy about our current balance. Knowledge of radio is spreading to us. Okay, cool. So we're going to let these finish. We're down to 442 here. Our debt is a problem, and our GDP is continuing to sink. Our market access is at 52%. This is not really improving. I want to check in on the status of our naval bases here. We're still hiring very slowly. What if we were to bump up our military wages like this? That's going to be relatively expensive, but we are doing better financially. But yeah, we can see we're already going to be negative with our construction paused. So that is definitely painful. Let's see, our least effective consumption tax is liquor at 30K. Tea would not be better than liquor here. Noted. Okay, so for now, that seems reasonably fine. Yeah, we're paying about 100K in interest right now. That's understood. 2.53K. We really do need to start turning this around, right? These guys are beginning conscription. Yeah, I don't care about that. Our main problem has to do with the shipping lanes. So I'm under the impression that escorting convoys will protect shipping lanes against convoy raiders. And I'm under the impression that the only way... Wait. Will that only protect it against convoy raiders against whom we are at war? Because we're not at war with anyone. But yet, clearly our convoys are being raided. Or we simply lack enough convoys? I don't think we lack the convoys, though. So, obviously, our market access is a big, big problem. There's no doubt about that. Ensuring that there are enough convoys to connect Gabon to its market capital overseas. We do have enough convoys right now. We can build additional ports. Some, anyway. That'll be mildly expensive. Mildly. But we certainly could work towards that. So it ended up being something kind of like this. So I do want to hop into our buildings here. I want to see what it feels like if we back our government administration back to standardized filing system. Okay. For the moment, this seems fine. We can work on our debt here a little bit like that. So that's broadly okay. How are we doing on our infamy right now? 25? Okay, we can let that drop if we feel like it for a while, or we can go to war if we think that would help. We're back up to 4.49 million unemployed, though. So we have a big jobs issue, right? There's no doubt about that one. We're paying down our debt at a moderate rate. It's not a significant rate right now, but it is a moderate rate. I wish we could have a slider for our construction to pause some of it and just balance it, like the sliders in Europa. That would be really, really convenient, as opposed to just resuming and unpausing it, right? Resuming, pausing, the whole thing. That'd be very, very convenient, but alas, that's not the case. So how long is it going to take to construct these? 15 weeks? We're constructing nearly the whole list here. And we'd be at minus 200k. Sure. Minus 300k. Okay, that's noted. Our GDP is mostly having a problem because of this market access, although that has come up somewhat. There must be something that I'm missing on the market access. So who is Britain currently at war with? Just this uprising, which is landlocked. They should not be doing any convoy raiding. So why is our shipping lane effectiveness low? Infrastructure usage is higher than infrastructure. It's restricted to 86%, which is understood. I haven't been working on that because we're reduced due to shipping lane effectiveness. It's determined by the strength of a country's supply network. Maintains a supply network of convoys. The total strength of your supply network is determined by comparing the amount of convoys produced to the total convoy cost across all of your shipping lanes. This strength is the baseline effectiveness of all of your shipping lanes. So we need more ports then. I feel like there's a more simple way to present this information. And that way would be to have the convoys up here be consumed by our shipping lanes. Because we can see here that we're currently, according to this tooltip, using 0 convoys. But we need to produce more convoys in order to increase our shipping lane effectiveness. So if we go into... where would we even see our baseline shipping lane effectiveness? So, the strength of a country's supply network, right? So what is our convoy cost? Determined by how many goods a trade route moves, how many battalions a supply route moves, or how much infrastructure usage a port connection facilitates market access for. This more sea nodes shipping lane must pass through, that's not, I think, the correct word. I think that should be the more sea nodes the shipping lane must pass through on its way to the destination, the higher the total convoy cost. The total convoy cost of all shipping lanes is compared to the total number of convoys provided by port buildings to determine the strength of your supply network. Okay. So where do we actually see the strength of our supply network? Clearly, it's 56%. But why is that information not presented up here, like in this convoys tab or just somewhere in this area? Because it's clearly very important, right? That's kind of what I'm coming down to here. Let's resume our construction here. We're going to need to get these ports built, clearly. That obviously needs to happen. It's just very interesting that it doesn't really tell us what's going on there until we go 3 tooltips deep here. Because I just saw that it was reduced due to low shipping lane effectiveness. And I was like, oh, okay, our shipping lane effectiveness, and if we go in here, our shipping lane effectiveness, according to this tooltip, is reduced by damage sustained by raid convoys. So I just assumed that they were being raided. But I don't believe that's true. It's determined by the strength of a country's supply network. And we had to go in here to determine that this is the total amount of convoys produced. So is there a production method that we can bump up in our ports? We're on anchorages. We can go to cargo ports. Now, that's going to triple our number of convoys. And I hadn't done this because the substitution is minus 16.5k. We're not running any trade routes, so why would we need this? But clearly we do. So if we do that, do we start to see our market access recover? We're at 350 convoys. Now we're at 380. It's going to take time for that production method to change over, right? We have grassroots support for this law, sure. So we changed that over, and of course ports are always going to be subsidized, right? And it looks like we're currently hiring in here. Okay. So we're at 422 convoys now. This is chilling at 8k, which is, I think, understood. Yeah, we don't really have any people here. So if we were to go to, say, Somaliland, and we were to look at our ports here, what do we have for unemployment in Somaliland? Okay, 400k. So if we were to do that, we look at this, and this should be growing by a pretty substantial amount. In fact, we need to remain paused on our construction here, sadly. But we can come in here and we can take a look on our port. So we're currently growing here, and we're at 509, now 552. We're still chilling at about 53% market access. But I think we've finally gotten down to the bottom of what's going on here. It's very interesting. There's not really an overland route to do this. It has to go via shipping lanes, right? So we can't, like, go down and use any of these British ports down over here either. Which is kind of fascinating. So we're at 683 convoys now. This is definitely starting to come up. We're getting these people employed here. And yes, our unemployment is rising. I'm aware of this. We're chilling at about 54% here. So if we were to look over here, market access reduced to 54% due to low shipping lane effectiveness. Also, Britain's been claiming a lot of our territory. I want to take a look at what they're thinking. Okay, they're protective and amicable. Shouldn't be a problem. So our convoy count is definitely growing right now. Plus 10% from paddle steamer. 50% contribution because we're a protectorate. Okay, so we are trading away half of our convoys, apparently. So we're expecting to get to like 1,500 here eventually. I'm not seeing substantial market access increases, even though we've increased our number of convoys by nearly 50%. So is there something else that we're missing? Potentially. This could clearly be communicated better. There's no doubt about that. So, a country's supply network, transportation need of their shipping lanes. Yes. That's all understood. So, our baseline effectiveness. Where do we see our baseline shipping effectiveness? Presumably that would be somewhere in here. But I have no idea where it might be. Regardless, it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'm going to look into this and see what we can do. The game could clearly communicate this better, but let's see what we can find. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, James, Shadow Wolf, and Lohan80, Rogue Corvid, Kentogan, Andy McGar, Spartan News, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12UK, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.